So for those who don't know, for those who always comment, why are your cheeks so red? Why is your nose so red? I have what I consider mild rosacea. Well, what was diagnosed as mild rosacea. For the last year and a bit, I've been on a bit of a journey with my rosacea as far as a whole range of factors, from the products that actually can help rosacea. There's no real cure, but can help with rosacea, the flare-ups and the flushing, treatments that we can have done for our rosacea, but also about food and diet and, you know, what's inside and how that affects our flushing and our rosacea. I'm actually getting complimentary treatments by the Pulse Light Clinic in London, which I'll be talking about throughout this. This video isn't sponsored, but I will leave all the relevant information about their services and what I'm having done in the description box down below. So I noticed I had flushing basically about 2 years ago now. It was after I used like a lactic acid or something. I really noticed some irritation on my cheeks and down my sideburns, and it was something I've noticed before, but I really felt like this really triggered it, really made my skin sensitive. And after that, I would flush very often when I was hot, after certain kind of foods. But it's been a while now, and I thought it was just irritation for the longest time until I actually went and got some filler done in my face, and the dermatologist was like, that's actually rosacea. Back then, I wasn't really doing much about it. I was doing things like trying to keep cool and not having dairy and putting cold compresses on my face and all this kind of stuff that really led to nothing. I would kind of like look at my flushes and think, oh, they're getting better, I think, but nothing was really happening. I posted about my rosacea on Instagram, and the Pulse Light Clinic reached out to me and asked if I wanted to come in for an IPL treatment. I was like, I don't know, this sounds scary, but sure, let's give it a go. And I'm going to say it right now, I've used and I am still using products to help with the redness. However, I feel like products can only take you so far as improvements go. And IPL was just the next step for me to kind of like really help with things like the spider veins on my nose and like the little like burst capillaries that you could really see, especially when I flushed. So IPL is intense pulsed light therapy, and this is almost like a laser that goes into the skin, disperses, and it's a very effective way to treat rosacea. I mean, if you just Google the results of IPL in general, they are amazing. They are very, very good. So I've been kind of vlogging my experience, and I'm just going to share that with you now and what I've been up to. I've been back for 2 or 3 sessions, I can't remember. This has all been during lockdown though, throughout the whole year. So appointments had to be cancelled because, you know, they had to close temporarily. Yes, I'm going to play the video where I ask many questions and hopefully they will be answered for you. So from what I know, IPL is different to like laser, right? Like what's the difference between lasers and IPL?
So IPL is an intense pulse light.
Right.
Laser is laser.
Okay.
So IPL uses multiple wavelengths. It is shattered light. It is non-colonized. So it literally goes everywhere. It's like a light bulb. When you turn the light on, it fills the whole room with light. Laser targets one sort of target, but IPL can target multiple things. So with this treatment, we're targeting blood, water, and pigment. Laser targets pigment.
And is there a difference? One question I get asked a lot when I mention I'm having this done is there a difference between IPL hair removal and what we're doing today?
Yes. Yeah. So IPL hair removal uses mainly the 600 wavelength, so your 695, 615 wavelength.
Yeah.
We're right up the other scale for the IPL. So we use a lot of the 500 wavelength.
Okay. And how many, because I've been told by a dermatologist I got quite mild rosacea.
It is.
So how many treatments, IPL treatments, would it usually take for my type of rosacea?
So as you can see here, you do have a little broken blood vessel. The skin does look a little bit red and irritated.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at maybe 2 to 3 sessions to get rid of the rosacea to help reduce it.
Okay.
But because no one actually knows what causes rosacea and why we get rosacea, that's why there's no cure. But we can help monitor and we can help reduce the side effects.
Okay.
A lot of the time, rosacea is caused by food intolerance.
Yes.
It's something we're eating. The heat rises up in the body and reflects on the face. And it's the body's way of saying, pay attention, there's something wrong. Here you do have a bit of a triangle on the forehead. Forehead normally does indicate the digestive issues. And again, you've got it on the cheeks and on the nose. So it's very, very mild.
Yeah.
Do you find it itches and burns at all?
Itches quite often on my forehead, yeah.
Okay. So again, that is the early stage. When it starts getting that itching and burning, that's when you really do need to look at what you're eating. Treatment, feel free.
I'm just scared like that.
No, actually. actually, because you've got a beard, it won't take that long. So we're looking at probably about 20 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Any point if it's too much, just put your hand up.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. So this first wavelength works on deep rosacea, so it targets all those blood vessels that are damaged underneath the skin.
Okay.
How did it feel?
It's only actually stinging in certain places, like down the side and along the cheeks. On the forehead and nose, I barely felt it. But yeah, it's not sting, it's more of like a, oh, you know, like you see me like flinch every time you do it.
So we're coming up slightly higher in the skin now. So this helps work on red flush. So this wavelength helps kills off those skin mites in the skin.
Ah, okay, that's
sometimes
cool.
that can sometimes what causes the itching and some of that inflammation.
That's the thing, it's not painful, it's just like a shock each time, even though you know it's coming, if that makes sense. Like
where you feel that sort of flicking is where it's picking up the blood vessels, and when you're not feeling it is where there is no broken blood vessels.
Ah, okay.
Again, we want the skin to cool itself down. So avoid hot showers, avoid gyms, saunas, steam rooms, anything like that. Avoid drinking coffee for a little while, because obviously that's going to stimulate your heart rate.
Okay,
so
yeah.
just give it an hour or so, just keep the skin nice and cool. So before we go to the next bit, I'm just going to cool you down a little bit.
Okay.
Does anywhere in particular feel hot?
Not really, no, to be honest.
Brilliant.
I think just like all over.
Brilliant. Give you a little cool down. I'm shrinking down to the smaller head, which makes the beam a lot more polymerized, more precise, targeting smaller areas.
Okay,
so
cool.
these few little blood vessels you've got broken, we're going to target those. These little veins around the nose.
Yeah, I noticed them around the nose.
Sometimes you do need more than one session.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
That was actually a lot less intense than I thought it was going to be.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to put on some aloe vera gel and SPF because it is a little bit sunny out today.
And are there any products I should avoid using for like today or the next 24 hours?
So
or?
avoid using anything too stimulating.
Okay.
So it's fine to use hyaluronic acid, so that's very healing to the skin.
Yeah.
But avoid using anything like salicylic or azelaic or anything like glycol even. Anything that's going to be overstimulating to the skin for the next sort of 2 days. Let the skin calm down.
Stick to the basics.
Very basic. Less is best.
So as you can see, my eyes are a little bit twitchy in that, like every time like something happens, I'm twitching. It's not painful. It feels like someone really quickly flicking your skin with a really hot nail, your like fingernail. There are bits where it does hurt more than others, but that's usually the area where I saw more results. So for example, like the spider veins on my nose, you can see a few now a lot more obvious because the whole redness has kind of settled down a lot. And these have become a lot more obvious. On my cheeks as well, when I flush, it's mainly due to stress. When I'm stressed out, when I'm working too much, I flush like absolute craziness, like crazy flushing, to the point where like if I get on camera, I'm guaranteed to get comments asking why I'm so red. However, it doesn't hurt. It's uncomfortable at points, but it doesn't hurt. You know, I can see a physical difference, and when flushing, the flushing is less aggressive. I'm looking forward to seeing what more treatments is going to do for me. And a huge part of rosacea and your skin in general is kind of like what's going on inside. I definitely noticed that over the last year and a bit, I've had something wrong inside. I don't know what it is. As I keep mentioning, I'm still having blood tests and all this kind of stuff, something to do with my acids, and that's really in the time period that I've noticed my rosacea getting worse and more obvious. They offer a blood test that tests for 23 food allergens and 19 environmental allergens as well, so, and it's a really good indication of what can be contributing to that flushing and your rosacea. Lovely. This is the food intolerance test. So this has a big part on your skin, obviously, food and diet, doesn't it? But does. Especially with rosacea?
It does, because if you have a food intolerance, it's your body's way of alerting you that something's not right. So heat builds up in the stomach and it flushes on the face. So everything comes pre-packed and sterilised.
Beautiful.
So blood samples don't get mixed up. We'll just put your name on the bottle. So, what finger would you like me to stab today?
I'm trying to think like what one I don't use, but any of them really.
Let's go for this. Let's warm it up, get the blood circulating.
Okay.
So we've got a nice good blood sample. So we're just sterilising the skin surface. Okay, so
Cool.
again, all these are sterilised and just a little tiny thin, like pinprick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, all done. And so we just bring the blood to the surface. So in your blood, you've got little proteins called IgGs, and this indicates what you're intolerant to. So this blood sample, so we're going to fill the stick up with your blood.
Yeah.
This then goes off to the lab where it's put through a machine which measures the IgGs. And then you get a printout of all the things you're intolerant to. And then Lisa Borsch, who's our food nutritionist, she will then go through everything with you and then put together a diet plan to suit your needs of what you're intolerant to and what you're not intolerant to. And your sample now gets sent off to the lab. And it takes approximately 10 days for that to come back.
Cool.
Okay, let's clean you up and put a little plaster on you.
I know it's going to come back saying something I don't want to hear.
Yeah,
you know, you
they
just
will.
know, don't you? Yeah.
Do you have any digestive issues?
It wouldn't surprise me if I've got a fair few allergies, to be honest with you. I think I've always had what is considered, or what I go to the doctors and they basically say you have IBS, and they kind of but don't really say what triggers it or how it's being triggered and stuff. And but yeah, I would say so, yes. Like I know what's going to trigger my stomach.
Okay, good. Because I have your results here. So the red column is a full-blown intolerance.
Okay.
So you don't have any full-blown intolerances. Okay, so
Yeah.
where do full-blown intolerances? The yellow column is borderline, and the green column is not considered intolerance, but it still gives you this arbitrary number to show that there are some antibodies being made to these foods.
Okay.
Now, remember that this is an intolerance test, yes? So this involves antibodies called IgG or immunoglobulin G, and it doesn't cover all allergies.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just looking at a very specific antibody, which everyone has some IgG antibodies to foods. But when we look at yours, I see this the numbers go quite extensively down the list. All the way down. We don't get to 0 until we're down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 full pages of foods that you've been tested for, and the first page all have some level of antibody. They're not intolerants at this point, and they would be considered safe to eat.
Okay.
But it does tell me that, you know, I've been doing this for something like 18 years. So on this intolerance test, I would say that you have some level of a leaky gut.
Okay.
It's not, the gaps are not huge. Now, a leaky gut, I don't know if you know anything about leaky gut, but basically I'm going to use my hands. Can you see my hands?
No.
No.
I can see this much of your face here and up.
So in the gut, the intestinal wall we're talking about, there are things called a tight junction. Can you see my hand? So you can see that that's tight fitted together. So when we're stressed, when we have a food poisoning, when we don't get enough sleep, when we have a vitamin D deficiency, all kinds of reasons, these junctions can loosen.
Okay.
And they create very tiny holes. I mean, this is huge compared to what I'm talking about. We're talking microscopic.
Right.
And the foods on your intolerance test with antibodies are small. Yeah, they're very small molecules. And these holes then, if a food goes through the hole, it's not permitted, actually. It's like gate crashing.
Right.
So on the other side of your intestinal wall, we have many different immune cells, like a warriors waiting to see what is coming into our bloodstream. Because from the mouth to the anus really is considered outside of the body.
Right.
It should only be selectively permeable, this intestinal wall. Yes, it should only allow nutrients in. So when a food particle escapes through those leaks, the immune system makes an antibody to that food.
Right.
Like it would to an invading organism. But because it's a food, it makes this IgG antibody. Now, when they get significantly high in number, then it becomes a borderline intolerance to a full-blown intolerance. But it doesn't really explain the rosacea significantly, to have this flushing that stays, and that when you move from temperature to temperature, or if you're stressed. So I'd like you to take an allergy test, and I'd like you to take that because I would like to just eliminate that from the program, so that I know there's not something working against us in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had you in the previous 6 to 12 months taken antibiotics or taken ibuprofen?
Yes, I remember I had a so this is a bit of an ongoing issue at the moment. So I used to get really bad chest pains to the point where I thought I was having a heart attack, and it was just indigestion. It was really bad indigestion. So I was on the medicine for that. At the moment, I'm currently having blood tests and other tests because I have this constant feeling of something in my throat that like won't go, and I feel like I'm constantly trying to clear my throat.
So back then, when you got the heartburn, indigestion, and what medication did you take? Omeprazole?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Long-term use of omeprazole is not advised. It's best to find the source of the symptom and address the source, rather than trying to put a sticky plaster over the symptom. And have you ever used apple cider vinegar?
So I bought some when I first got this, when I thought it was acid. I bought some because that's why I read that another theory is that you're lacking in the acid, so you have to put some back in. I probably did it for like a week and then went to the doctor, and then I was given that medicine. So I was like, oh, this is fine. I got medicine now, it will cure it. Then after I had a good month, I think, and then the other 3 months it was doing nothing. So then I haven't touched apple cider vinegar since.
You take 1 tablespoon in a full glass of water, and you take it in the beginning of your meal because you're trying to mimic nature.
Ah, okay.
All right then. So we've got a lot of angles that we're coming in at.
Yeah.
I'm slightly disappointed that your results were not more definitive.
Yeah.
But it is also, for me, it's also interesting.
Yes, yeah, for me as well, because I love, like, when it comes to ingredients and skincare, I love like cracking down to the stuff behind it. So even though it's my face where it like playing around with it, not playing around, but sorting out, I find it super interesting, and I want to go down all these little routes and see, over time what makes that difference. So yeah. Yes,
you're a challenge.
Thank you so much.
Okay, James. Well, I'm going to email you now with the documents.
Cool.
And I'll write a little bit of reminders of what I've suggested. And let's sort out these supplements once we have the allergy results.
Okay, cool.
I can get those in the test kit in the post to you tomorrow.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I have had another food intolerance test, which I haven't had the results back from yet, but we're going to see what that comes up with as well. And I'm here for the process. I'm not here for a quick fix. I really do need to make the difference inside so that you can see the difference outside as well. So before I talk about products, I just want to talk realistically about how much all of this costs. As I mentioned, I'm getting this complimentary, perks of being an influencer, I guess. The cost of the IPL really does depend on what they think you need. So what I'm having, the course of 6 IPL treatments and the food intolerance tests, this all comes to $1,250, which, as I mentioned, I would personally pay. I would. If it's something that, you know, my mild rosacea bothers me so much because my career is about my face and it's about my skin, so I can only imagine how people with more severe rosacea, repetitive nature of rosacea. So yes, I hope to come at you soon with the more food side of it once I've cracked that down for myself. But this is what I'm doing so far to treat my rosacea. I know a lot of you were asking questions about it, so I hope this helped. As I mentioned, all links, discounts, discount codes as well. I have a discount code for the Pulse Light Clinic, will be in the description box down below. As I mentioned, this isn't sponsored. All this was gifted to me, and after my treatments and seeing how it all went, I agreed then to post this video, because I really feel like it's working for me and I want to share this with people. If it works for my mild rosacea, I'd love to see how this works for those with more intense rosacea. But yeah, that is it for me for now. I will see you next time.